Please like this video. I really need your support right now. It's the only way this story can reach more people. Thank you so much for being here with me and for your support. The first time it hit me wasn't some dramatic midnight confession. It was a Tuesday. Normal, boring, almost insulting in how ordinary it looked. I'd booked our usual table at that little Italian cafe we liked. Same booth, same time, same routine that used to feel like a marriage and lately felt like a calendar appointment I was doing alone. 30 minutes before we were supposed to leave, my phone buzzed. Client's on fire. Don't wait for me. No heart. No sorry. No emoji. Those had quietly gone extinct in the last couple months, like she'd decided affection was an optional feature. I typed back, which client? A pause. Then, Greg asked me to stay. Important prep. There it was. Greg. Not my director. Not the regional lead. Just Greg, with that soft little personal tone she used to save for me. I stared at the screen while the kettle on the stove clicked and hissed like it was annoyed on my behalf. When she got home later, cheeks flushed, eyes sliding away from mine, I tried to land the plane like an adult. Okay, I told her. If we've got problems, let's make a plan. Real plan. Not this drifting. Alyssa gave me a quick smile that wasn't a smile. Don't dramatize. It's work. Work doesn't cancel a marriage twice a week. She rolled her eyes like I was the needy one. Mark, you travel. You're barely here. I'm trying to build something. Build what? She grabbed a bottle of water, twisted the cap too hard, and shrugged. A career. You know, the thing that pays for our life. That little jab, our life, like I was a passenger, started a timer in my head. I didn't know the destination yet, but I knew the road was getting ugly. If I'd known where it was headed, I would have stopped trying to be polite a lot sooner. A week later, I was packing for a 3-day trip to Milwaukee. Nothing glamorous. Meetings, spreadsheets, the usual. Alyssa stood in the doorway of our bedroom, scrolling her phone like it was more important than the man leaving. You're really going? She asked, not looking up. It's work. The thing that pays for our life. I replied, letting her line bounce back at her. That finally got her eyes up. Cute. I'm not trying to be cute. I'm trying to understand what's happening to us. Nothing is happening, she said, already turning away. You're making it weird. I zipped my suitcase and set it by the dresser. I'm making a boundary. No more last-minute cancellations. No more mystery late nights. If you're staying late, you tell me where you are and who you're with. Simple. Her laugh was short. You want a report? I want basic respect. Greg keeps me late, she said, like that should end the conversation. It's not personal. The way she said his name again, too casual, too familiar, made my jaw tighten, not from jealousy, from disgust. She was testing what she could get away with. I reached into the nightstand and slid our shared credit card across the dresser toward her. Not dramatic, just a move. What's that? She asked. It stays here, I said. I'm taking my own card on the trip, and I'm switching direct deposit to my personal account when I get back. Her eyebrows jumped. Because I worked late? Because you're acting like we're roommates who share bills, I answered. So I'm adjusting to match reality. She stepped closer, voice sharp now. You can't just change things without talking to me. I tried talking, I reminded her. You called it dramatizing. Her mouth opened, then closed. For a second, she looked like she might actually think. Then the mask slid back into place. Fine, she said. Do what you need to do. I have to focus. Great, I replied. So do I. That night, she got into bed and turned her back to me like it was a habit. No kiss. No drive safe. Just the glow of her phone and the quiet confidence of someone who thought the home base was guaranteed. The next day, I was 2 hours into my drive when she texted. Big day? Might be late again. I didn't ask with who. I already knew which name would appear. Instead, I wrote, okay. That okay wasn't approval. It was the sound of me stepping back and letting her walk into her own consequences. By the second evening, my meeting schedule shifted. A client canceled. I suddenly had no reason to stay the third day. I stared at my hotel room's ceiling, listening to the air conditioner rattle, and made a decision. Not a dramatic one. Not a romantic one. A logistical one. I checked out early. I pulled into our garage just after midnight, headlights off, like I was coming home to surprise my wife with flowers and hope. That was the story I could have told myself if I wanted to be stupid. I used my key. The door into the house clicked softly. The air inside smelled like lavender detergent and something else, sweet, warm, wrong. I took 2 steps into the hallway and froze. From upstairs, muffled sounds. A rhythm. A breathy noise that didn't belong to sleep. My first instinct wasn't rage. It was clarity. Like my brain finally had permission to stop guessing. I pulled out my phone and hit record. Not for drama. For truth. I walked up the stairs slowly, every step controlled. The bedroom door was mostly closed, just a narrow crack. I leaned in and pushed it open an inch. There, on our bed, was Greg Turner. Big shoulders, office haircut, the kind of guy who always stood too close in group photos. Alyssa was under him, hair spread on the pillow I bought last year, because she said the old ones hurt her neck. And on his left hand, plain as day, was a wedding ring. So not only was he wrecking my home, he was doing it like a man who already had one. I pushed the door open all the way. They jolted like teenagers caught in a parked car. Alyssa's face went white. Mark, Greg scrambled, grabbing the sheet like it could erase him. Listen, man, I can explain. Get dressed, I said, voice flat. Both of you. 5 minutes. Then you're out of my house. Alyssa started crying instantly, like tears were a fire extinguisher. Please, please. Greg tried to stand tall, but panic made him sloppy. This isn't what it looks like. I nodded like I was evaluating a business pitch. It looks like you're in my bed. He swallowed. We made a mistake. I tilted my head. You wore your wedding ring to my house. That's not a mistake. That's a lifestyle. Alyssa reached for a robe, hands shaking. Mark, I was. Stop, I cut in. Don't start building a story. You're not good at it. Greg took a step toward me, palm up like we were negotiating. Look, I'm her director. There's pressure. It got blurred. I swear. Let me pause the story for just a second. If you're still here, please hit the like button. It really helps YouTube recommend this story to more people. Thank you so much for your support. Now, let's get back to the story. I stepped closer, calm as a man choosing paint samples. You've got 2 options. You walk out quietly, or you get carried out loudly. His jaw tightened. You're overreacting. That was the moment, not the act, the attitude. 1 clean punch. No flailing, no stomping, no drama. Just a straight, controlled shot that snapped his head to the side and turned his confidence into stumbling silence. He grabbed his face, eyes wide, backing up fast. I pointed to the hallway. Out. Now. Greg didn't argue anymore. He grabbed his clothes, mumbled something I didn't bother listening to, and hustled down the stairs like the house was on fire. Alyssa stood there in her robe, crying harder, like volume could change facts. Mark, please, she said. I didn't mean. I picked up my overnight bag from the floor where I dropped it. You didn't mean to get caught. That's not. It is, I replied. And this is only the beginning. Her eyes widened. What does that mean? It means you don't get to control the timeline anymore. I walked out of the bedroom, down the stairs, and out the front door without slamming anything. Slamming doors is for people who still hope the noise will matter. In the driveway, I sat in my car and watched the porch light glow like nothing happened. My phone started buzzing. Alyssa calling. Again. I didn't answer. I drove to a 24-hour diner by the lake, parked under a streetlight, and walked in like a man grabbing a late coffee. The waitress, older woman, sharp eyes, name tag that said Donna, looked me over and didn't ask questions. Coffee, she said. Black, I replied. She poured it and nodded toward a booth. Long night. Longer than I expected, I answered. I opened my laptop, connected to the Wi-Fi, and started treating my marriage like a case file. By 2 in the morning, I had everything laid out. Joint accounts, statements, hotel charges that didn't match any business travel I knew about, restaurants we'd never gone to together, a boutique purchase that sure didn't end up in our closet. Then I opened the tablet we shared at home, the one synced to our family cloud. Alyssa was sloppy. She'd been sending messages, photos, little videos, thinking the shared setup was harmless because I never cared about that tech stuff. Turns out, I cared just fine. For months of flirtation. Late night, can't sleep, threads. Wish you were here. Photos of hotel mirrors. Dates and timestamps lining up perfectly with her client emergencies. I built a timeline. Simple. Ruthless. Working late, paired with hotel check-ins. Team dinner, paired with a two-person reservation. Conference prep, paired with media sent at 1:12 a.m. Donna came by and refilled my cup. She glanced at the screen and raised an eyebrow. Looks intense, she said. It's accounting, I replied. Of what? Of my patience, I said, and she snorted quietly, like she understood more than she wanted to. At around 4, my phone finally buzzed with a text instead of a call. Alyssa, where are you? Please come home. We need to talk. I typed back one line. Not tonight. A minute later, Mark, I'm sorry. He pushed. I was vulnerable. You're always gone. There it was. The first draft of her narrative. Not facts. Not responsibility. A mood board. I didn't respond. At 5, I called an attorney a buddy from work had used for a clean divorce years ago. The guy answered like he was already awake. This is David, he said. Mark Collins, I replied. I need strategy. Calm. Efficient. No chaos. He paused. Tell me what happened. I gave him the bare facts. No dramatic language. Just timestamps, evidence, money trails. I told him I'd recorded what I saw, and that I'd already secured copies of financial records. Good, David said. Do not threaten. Do not post anything. Do not do anything emotional. Keep collecting. Separate finances. Document everything. We'll handle the process clean. I'm not interested in theater, I said. I'm interested in outcomes. Then you're already ahead, he replied. Next step is temporary financial measures and formal filing. We can time it. I looked at my timeline and smiled without joy. Timing won't be a problem. Before dawn, Alyssa tried again. A voicemail this time. Her voice was soft, shaky, suddenly tender, like she'd found the old Alyssa costume in a drawer. Mark, I know you're hurt. I made a mistake. Please, I'll do anything. Come home. I made coffee. Coffee, like caffeine, could rebuild respect. That was her first softening. Like care. Easy apology. No concrete truth. I closed the voicemail and kept building my file. At sunrise, I left the diner, drove back to the house, and didn't go inside. I opened the garage, grabbed 2 bags of my clothes, my laptop dock, and my important documents from the home office. Then I did something Alyssa never expected. I stopped living reactively. I checked into a furnished apartment across town. Signed for a month. Quiet building, concierge, cameras. Safe. Clean. And I texted her one sentence. I'm not staying in that house right now. Do not come to my work. Her response came fast. You can't just abandon me. I replied, watch me. 2 days later, I had the full picture. Greg wasn't just a guy. He was a ladder Alyssa was climbing. The way she'd talked about visibility, high-impact projects, executive exposure. The way she'd suddenly started dressing sharper on weekdays and ignoring me on weekends. She wanted the career leap. She wanted the mentorship. And she wanted the stability of a husband at home paying half the bills and keeping her reputation clean. Dual track. Maximum gain. Minimal risk. Until I walked in early. On Wednesday, I went back to the house in daylight. I brought movers? No, I'm not dramatic. I brought myself a checklist and a tape measure. I stripped the bed, bagged the sheets, took the comforter, took the pillows. I didn't throw anything across the room. I didn't curse. I just removed it from my life. Then I called a mattress company and scheduled a replacement. Not because foam has feelings, but because I wasn't going to sleep on a reminder. While I worked, my neighbor, Hank, wandered over, retired guy who always smelled like sawdust and black coffee. He leaned on the doorframe. You okay, Mark? I'm reorganizing, I answered. He glanced upstairs like he could sense the tension through drywall. That woman of yours been acting off. She's not mine right now, I said. Hank whistled low. That bad? Bad enough I'm buying a new mattress. He nodded slowly. Smart. Some things can't be cleaned. That was Hank. No therapy talk. Just practical wisdom. Back at the apartment, I opened a new bank account. Moved my paycheck there. Not out of spite. Out of sanity. I also created a spreadsheet of every joint transaction, every odd charge. I documented it like I was prepping a business audit. Alyssa texted mid-afternoon. Stop freezing me out. We need counseling. I replied, we need honesty. Counseling comes after facts. Fine, she wrote. You want facts? Greg is powerful. He's intense. He made me feel seen. I stared at the screen. Made you feel seen. like I was supposed to clap for her. I typed, he felt seen too. In my bed. She didn't respond for an hour. Then, don't do anything crazy. Don't ruin my job. I leaned back in my chair, watching that line sit there like a threat wrapped in panic. And that's when I made my second move. I prepared an anonymous packet for her company's HR and board. Not a rant, not a speech. A clean, factual report, possible abuse of power, policy violations, expense discrepancies. I edited the video to obscure Alyssa's face. Kept the audio clear. Included message screenshots with timestamps. Included expense reports that didn't match approved routes. No dramatic language, just evidence. At 9 p.m., I sent it from a new email account and closed the laptop. Kill turn wasn't a shout. It was the moment I realized Alyssa wasn't sorry for what happened. She was scared of losing the benefits. And she proved it the next morning. I got an alert. The joint card had been used. Attempted charge at an upscale hotel. Declined because I'd already moved the limit down and required my approval. 2 minutes later, Alyssa texted, "Why is my card not working? Fix it. I have meetings." My laugh came out short. Not funny, just sharp. I replied, "You don't have our card anymore." "What is wrong with you?" she fired back. "You're punishing me." I answered, "I'm protecting myself." "That's different." No response after that. Just silence, the kind that means she was recalculating. By Thursday, the office rumors started leaking without me even trying. A buddy of mine, Jorge, worked in a different department but had friends everywhere. He called while I was driving back from a supplier visit. "You sitting down?" Jorge asked. "I'm driving," I replied. "So no." He laughed. "All right, listen. North Meridian is buzzing. People are saying Greg Turner vanished from meetings. HR is pulling folks into side rooms." "Interesting," I said, eyes on the road. "Dude," Jorge added, voice dropping, "this isn't normal. This is executive level quiet." I kept my tone even. When you break policy, it gets quiet. "You know something?" "I know accountability," I said. On Friday morning, Alyssa showed up at my apartment building. Let me pause the story for just a second. If you're still here, please hit the like button. It really helps YouTube recommend this story to more people. Thank you so much for your support. Now, let's get back to the story. I didn't let her in. I came down to the lobby, where the concierge, a young guy with a neat tie named Reggie, watched like he was witnessing a reality show he didn't ask for. Alyssa looked wrecked, eyes puffy, makeup rushed, hair pulled back too tight. "You did this," she said the moment she saw me. No hello, no apology, straight accusation. "Good morning," I replied. "Try again." "You destroyed his career," she snapped, voice rising. "He's gone. His profile is gone. He's not answering anyone. People are talking." I nodded slowly. "He walked into my house wearing a wedding ring and thought I'd shake his hand. Now he's dealing with consequences." Alyssa stepped closer, eyes flashing. "This was supposed to be private." "That's funny," I answered. "So was my marriage." Reggie cleared his throat, pretending to look at a clipboard while listening to every word. Alyssa lowered her voice, switching tactics like flipping a light switch. "Mark, please. I'm scared. They're reviewing my projects. My review is next week." There it was. Not, "I hurt you." Not, "I disrespected us." Just my review. "You should have thought about that before you turned our home into a conference room," I said. She flinched. I was under pressure. "He's older. He's intense." He made it seem like. "Stop," I cut her off. "Don't sell me a story where you had no choices. You made choices. Lots of them. For months." Her tears started again, right on cue. "I love you. I messed up. Let's fix it. I'll cook tonight. I'll make your favorite pie." Second softening. Bigger. Sweeter. Over-the-top domestic performance. I looked at her like she was offering me a coupon. "You're trying to buy back comfort." "That's not." "It is," I replied. "And it's not for sale." She wiped her face, voice turning sharp again. "So what? You're just going to throw away 9 years?" "I'm not throwing it away," I said. "You did. I'm just cleaning up." Her eyes darted to Reggie, like she suddenly remembered there were witnesses. She forced a calmer tone. "Can we at least talk somewhere private?" she asked. I shook my head. "We talk through structure now. No hallway negotiations." "What does that even mean?" "It means you don't get access to me on demand," I answered. "Go home." She stared at me, then turned and walked out like she wanted everyone to see her pain. She loved an audience when it benefited her. That weekend, we had a mutual friends gathering, barbecue at Tom and Renee's place. Normally, I'd skip it, but I went for one reason. I wasn't going to let Alyssa rewrite the story in public while I hid. Tom's the kind of guy who wears work boots to cook burgers. Renee has a sharp laugh and a way of watching people like she's reading subtitles. Alyssa arrived late, dressed like she was going to a company event. She walked straight up to me in the backyard, put a hand on my arm, and smiled too wide. "There he is," she said loudly. "My busy husband." I met her smile with a calm stare. "Don't do that." Her fingers tightened slightly, like a warning. "Don't do what?" "Be friendly." Renee drifted closer, sensing tension. Tom stopped flipping burgers. Alyssa kept her voice sweet. "Mark's been stressed. Work stuff. You know how he gets." That was her public version. I'm the unstable one. I stepped half a foot back, removing her hand from my arm without touching it. Just a shift. "Here's how this is going," I said, loud enough for the nearby circle to hear. "We're not presenting as a couple. Don't speak for me. Don't joke about me. And don't touch me." Alyssa's smile froze. "Mark, seriously?" "Completely," I replied. Tom blinked. You guys okay?" "We're handling it," I said, privately, "but the rules are public." Alyssa's cheeks flushed. "You're embarrassing me." I shrugged. "You're feeling exposed. That's different." Renee's eyebrows rose like she'd just learned something important. Alyssa looked around, realizing she wasn't controlling the room. She hissed under her breath, "You're being cruel." I leaned in just enough for her to hear. "Cruel is using people like furniture. I'm not furniture." Then I turned to Tom. "Thanks for the invite. I'm heading out." I left. No speech. No argument. Just an exit. In my truck, I sent one text to David the attorney. "Let's time the delivery for Tuesday morning." His reply came quick. "Understood." Microcliff, simple as that. The last step was loaded, and it was already moving. Tuesday morning, Alyssa's office received a courier envelope in the middle of the open floor plan, right where people could see, right before her performance review meeting. Not because I wanted to humiliate her, because I wanted it handled cleanly, on schedule, with witnesses that prevented he never told me games. Inside, formal divorce filing and temporary financial measures. Clear instructions. Clear boundaries. At 11 a.m., my phone rang. "Alyssa." I let it go to voicemail. At 11:03, she texted, "You did this at work? Are you insane?" I replied, "We're done playing private games in public places." At 11:10, she called again. I didn't answer. At 12:30, Reggie texted me from the lobby desk. "She's here again." I walked down calm. Alyssa stood by the glass doors like she'd been waiting for the world to apologize to her. Her eyes were wild now, not sad. Angry. Cornered. "Tell them to stop," she said. "They're questioning my expenses. They're asking about Greg. You did all this." I looked at her and kept my voice level. "I didn't make you send those messages. I didn't make you book those rooms. I didn't make you bring him into our home." She clenched her jaw. "You're enjoying this." "No," I replied. "I'm finishing it." She stepped closer, lower voice, trying to hook my emotions. "Mark, please. We can still fix this. We can go to counseling. I'll transfer teams. I'll do anything. Anything except tell the truth without bargaining," I said. Her face twisted. "You're acting like I'm some monster." "I'm acting like I'm a man who noticed he wasn't being respected," I answered. "Big difference." She reached into her purse and pulled out a key, my old apartment key, the one she'd copied somehow, and held it up like a weapon. "I can go upstairs," she said. "We can talk in your place whether you want it or not." I nodded once slow. "Try it." She blinked. "What?" I turned slightly, so she could see the security camera above us. "This building records everything. The moment you step past that door without permission, you create a problem you can't talk your way out of." Her hand tightened around the key. She looked up at the camera, then back at me, calculating again. I opened my phone and typed a message, then showed her the screen. "From this moment, communication is through attorneys only." I didn't send it yet. I let her read it. Alyssa's voice cracked. "You're really doing this?" "Yes," I replied. "And you're going to leave the keys with the concierge." She shook her head, tears returning, but now they looked like anger wearing water. "Mark, our anniversary is next month," she whispered. I stared at her, unimpressed. You already celebrated it early. In my bed. She flinched like I'd slapped her with truth. I nodded toward Reggie. Keys. Alyssa looked around the lobby, desperate for leverage, for pity, for anything. Reggie just stood there, polite and firm, like a man who'd seen enough drama to know where it ends. Slowly, Alyssa dropped the keys onto the counter. Metal on granite. Final sound. I stepped back. From here on out, you don't contact me. You don't come here. You don't come to my work. You don't try to talk. You made choices. Now you live in them. Her voice went thin. So that's it. I gave her one last look, calm, cold, clean. That's it, I replied. Get out of my life. Then I turned and walked to the elevator without looking back. A year later, my life is quieter in the best way. I bought a new place on the edge of Minneapolis. Nothing flashy, just solid. I sleep like a man who isn't waiting for another lie to walk through the door. My work's better too. Funny what happens when your mind isn't constantly doing damage control. I've got a woman now who doesn't play chess with basic respect. We take drives. We laugh. She doesn't treat my time like an inconvenience. My friends see the difference in my face before I even say anything. As for Alyssa, I hear things, because people always talk. Her career leap didn't happen. The mentor vanished. The inner circle closed ranks without her. She moved out of the neighborhood and into a smaller place across town. No more polished couple photos. No more confident posture at events. Just a quieter existence with a lot less control than she planned for. And every now and then, when I pass that Italian cafe on a Tuesday, I smile a little. Not because it still hurts. Because it doesn't. Because the moment she made my marriage optional, I made my presence optional too. And I've never been more at peace with a decision.